The very first announcement I want to bring up, I want to say congratulations to Ace, the editor for the channel here. He's been fantastic. He's been on the team for several months now, and I'm very confident y'all have been able to notice just kind of a shift and improvement in overall content and quality and things. Now granted, I know we've backed off on our posting schedule recently, but he's been a part of the team for much longer than that, and he just had his first baby. So congratulations to them, him and his wife, great people. Appreciate your time you put in, bud. And that's one thing about it. This trade needs more family time. We need more family focus, because generations that have gone before us, that's one of the things they really struggled at, is maintaining a proper family structure while trying to survive this trade. Yeah, I think we can do it better, and I think that there's more opportunities to do it better, but we've got to be intentional about it. And HVAC as an industry, I'll be honest with you, hun, you can be kind of a bit. To item number one. I'm releasing a new product. This is something I've been working on for over a year now. I've had several people involved in trying to put this together and getting a lot of input and really trying to tune it. Ultimately, this is going to be something that rolls out over an extended period of time. This is just the beginning of the starting point. But I'm releasing a tech sheet. So the way this will work is it'll be a PDF copy of a parameter sheet essentially. And so something like a YK, and it's actually the chiller I'm starting with. A YK chiller has literally a dozen, 24 books in total that is, encompassing, and each one of those books has different values and figures for the whole machine, and very few of those books share the same data. And you've got to know which one of the manuals. You've also got to have the manuals to begin with. Thankfully, I've been through a lot of the factory certifications, and I get a lot of that data that way. It's really difficult, and there's so many just little things. I'll give you an example. Okay, let's say you needed to remember what is the oil temperature set point supposed to be on a YK chiller. Just think about that for a second. What is that set point supposed to be? Or I'll take that a step further. What is the mechanical oil set point, or the oil safety temperature thermostat on the oil heaters for a YK centrifugal? All right, that's not something we have to deal with very often. It's not one we have to constantly think about. Some of them that we do might be something like the discharge superheat, or the approach values, or small temp difference, right? Or the PRV positions. We think about those a lot. And I know from my personal experience, I don't think about the oil piece, but every once in a while you run into one. It would really help you to feel confident if you had that data readily available. Well, AKA, here's the tech sheet. So this tech sheet's going to be something, it'll be multiple revisions, but it'll be one structured sheet from the get-go. So the initial copy that we're generating will have the majority of the core essential data you're going to need, and from there we'll release future versions. So this very first one's going to be version 1.0, and then you may have a 1.1, 1.2 in the future as we critique, or as new models and revisions and generations to the chiller come out. This is the scope of it. It's just a quick reference sheet. It's not necessarily built for the entry-level technician, even though if you don't know this data to begin with, it's going to be great for you in that regard. But it's really tailored toward the guys who this is what you do every day, but you can't remember the whole thing all the time. So this is something you can it's right there on your phone or tablet, however you save it. It will be something I am asking for a subscription for, not like a recurring subscription. What I mean by subscription is you'll pay for the rights to use it once, and that'll give you a lifetime availability to that tech sheet. Then in the future, I will release other machines, like for example, a trained CVH centrifugal. I've also want to do this on VRVs and VRF equipment, carry this into air-cooled chillers. This snowball kind of continues. So be looking for it. I plan to release the first one by the end of October. So I want to get this information out there, let you know this is coming. I'm really excited about this. Now that we've got a good structure and a good team that can work through these things, I'm expecting to try to have more released, every 1 to 2, 3 months, have a new sheet. And I'll do an announcement for each of those sheets as we go. So don't worry, you're not going to miss out on anything. Item number 2. I'm going to release a new website, and it's actually going to go through Shopify. So something I found, my current website has been built through Squarespace, and it has its own like Squarespace checkout system, which is powered by Stripe and all that. Anyway, without getting in the weeds here, a lot of you really like and appreciate Shopify. I've done a lot of research on this, and I find that actually Shopify is an excellent option, and it's really popular with a lot of people. So what I want to do is just give something that I think will be better, but there's a really cool option that I can integrate the Shopify store directly into YouTube, straight on the channel. So what that'll look like is, if you haven't seen this yet, or maybe you haven't noticed, but when you pull up a video, right there underneath the video, there'll be these little like square icons. If whoever you're watching has done this already, you're going to see this extremely soon if it's not already released on the channel. And what it'll be is you'll just have options to directly click on whatever packages I offer. So for my tech sheets, for an example, if you're watching one of my YK videos and you're realizing, hey, you know what, I could really use this information on handy or on standby. Anyway, it'll just be a link right there at the bottom of the video. You can just go click on it. It'll take you straight to the Shopify store, and you've got it, you're done. Or say tech support or a consultation thing, you know, if you're in that process. Regardless, it's supposed to be real seamless. I've seen a lot of people do this and experiment. YouTube has had some time to develop this, and I'd like to get kind of experimenting with it myself, get on that bandwagon. Anyway, so the new store is coming. It'll release extremely soon. Update number 3. So I am officially opening my calendar to start taking on-site consultations and trainings. So if you are out there and you need help in any way, we're somewhere within the continental United States or even Canada. So what you'll do is you'll end up just reaching out and ask to get a quote for that, and we'll heavily discuss what your actual needs are. And honestly, if it's something, because I'm not just going to take a trip for nothing, right? So if it's something where I do need to come there and show you this or train or however, then we'll have that conversation so that I can just provide that feedback and that input to you. Anyway, it'll be a quote-based process, and the travel fees and all that. I am only going to be taking so many trips within a year, and it has to work around my other work schedule and everything else. It's not something where I'm not going to be real fast about it. So if it's something that you need that, you definitely want to make sure you plan that out well in advance with me, and let's start that conversation as soon as possible so that we can book that, schedule it, and I can make arrangements on my side to be there. I'm going to be getting more focused with how we create the videos and the content and things that we're doing, and what's getting released out there. So the training videos specifically are going to be a lot more training focused and detailed oriented and things of that nature. And the other flip side of that is like the service videos and things. They're going to be far more in not a vlog style necessarily, but really kind of, yes. I'm not exactly sure how to explain it, but regardless, it's going to have less explaining, and something I've really thought about experimenting with. I haven't really dedicated to doing this yet, but going in and just shooting a very, like if I'm on a service call, shooting a very vlog style, just not explaining everything under the sun, just letting you know what I'm doing, why I'm testing it, or maybe not even the why, just what I'm testing. I think that's probably more realistic. What I'm testing, and then from there, just let you kind of follow the story and see the outcome. I know a lot of you, you don't really care as much, or you already know a lot of how the things are working. You're more interested to see the mindset, the thought process, and the flow of what happened. So in that situation, I would then end up taking and using that same footage, but then we'll come in here to the studio and we'll talk about it a little more. I'll explain some of the things that were happening and why I was making the decisions I made, and just give a little bit more of a full breakdown, and that would be a training focused video instead of a service focused. And so that's how we're going to start breaking some of these things down. And just as you see the channels kind of find their own groove, I want to make sure that we're doing things that are tailored to the people who are interested in that type of content, because it comes down to the more you enjoy it, the better I hope you'll do with the information, the better reach it will have. You know, for me, it's not about having millions of whatever subscribers, views. I don't really care about that. What I do care about is improving outcomes, and one of the ways I can do that is getting the right information or the right examples to the right people, and I can do that by increasing its reachability. So to do that, instead of trying to force feed or force, you know, the service people who don't really care or need that high level education, and the people who are looking for the trainings, trying to make you always coincide with everything, really give you your own spaces. So anyway, you're gonna see that shift and that change. And if you are subscribed to both channels, or maybe you are only in service and you end up, you know, seeing a video and you're like, hey, you know what, I really want to see the more in-depth to that, you'll be able to do that over on the HVAC time channel, not the service channel. So the HVAC time channel is going to remain a training focused, training oriented channel and content. Something I haven't really talked about much yet is the studio itself. So it's nothing fancy. This is just my office at my house. I've got a standing desk I've used, and I've cleared it off, and I got some plywood I put down on it. This is going to be kind of my working angle. I got a top-down camera that I can put like a whiteboard, and we can work out stuff, and I can talk to you while you see my whiteboard, and just stepping it up a little. And this really expands my ability, especially from the training and the conversation piece inside of it. This isn't fully everything I planned for it to be, but it is what it is right now. Like, here's a soldering iron. I know a few of you are really interested in the circuit board stuff, and that's a really big thing for me as well. So this is a way I could actually pull this out, so I can iron. I've got an actual soldering rod, and then a voltage output where I can, honestly, we could hook up actuators to this thing and test the outputs. We can do a lot. I've had this for many years. This is what I've used for a long time. I've also got just an old contactor. This thing's just an old burnout one, but it's just a fun showpiece. A lot of this is stuff that I like to do trainings on, like showing you how to break one of these down, what all the components do, how to troubleshoot it. Those are more basic videos. This is actually a inverter board out of an LG, obviously my drill. This and these, I'm still figuring out how I want to use these, but these are my grandfather's. So he's one of the men in my life that really made me a lot of who I am. He was the person that kind of turned the outcome for my family. Prior to him, we were just kind of blacksmiths, you know, back in up into the early 1900s, you know, leather workers and blacksmiths. That's what we did. And so my grandfather, he was the first one, so the story goes, that really broke out of that, and he went to be a heavy mechanic for DAR out of Longview, Texas. And he worked on just the Caterpillar, a lot of their big equipment, did a lot of forklift and, you know, like their excavators and stuff. A lot of that service, worked in their shop for 40 years doing that. Anyway, he set the path for me today, you know. A lot of my mechanic skills and my dad and everything else really started with him. So yeah, this was his watch that he wore up until the day he passed away. And these were his two watches. Now this black one here, these are case watches. I'm sorry, watches, knives. He really liked the cases. This black one was the one he's carried for as long as I could remember. Heck, this thing may be pretty close to as old as I am, as far as I know. I'm not exactly sure how long he had this one. He had it. He kept it in his nightstand. He didn't really use it much. But anyway, this was one of his parting gifts to me when he passed, was his two case pocket knives and his wristwatch. So yeah, I'm gonna figure out how to incorporate that, because he was extremely important in my life and in my story. And yeah, so it's just a pegboard. So yeah, I'm gonna finish kind of building this out, and this is just a jumbled mess still, but appreciate you sticking around. Thank you for sticking around for the channel, for the brand, for me, It's been a crazy journey. It's been fun. There's a lot coming. We are far from over. I've got a lot of ideas on how to take this to the next level, how to advance this industry. You know, that's really what a lot of this comes down to for me. And something we've been talking about as a team is we want to create better outcomes, and we want to see you create a better outcome for yourself. And if we can do that through the information that's being shared and showing it to you in the process, then we've done something, and we've accomplished, you know, what the industry's done for us. I do not come from money, and I really don't care about money all that much. It doesn't mean that much to me, other than giving my family food and shelter. That's really all it really means to me. But it's because I make a living that I can comfortably take care of my family now in ways that growing up we couldn't. So I want to see you do the same, because I think there's a lot of you who are in a very similar situation, or maybe you aren't that far from a situation like I was in growing up. And having an industry like this that can really turn your life and your family's life around financially, it's a big deal. So thank you. Thank you for being patient. Thank you for being a part. Thank you for caring. Just thank you. MTT guys, take care of your family, take care of your spouse, spend some time with your kids. I'm about to go move some chickens with mine. We'll see you around.